Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Drills back with a quick tutorial, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make images into pendants. I'm going to be showing you how to decimate them so that they're low poly, not high poly. And yeah, it's real quick and simple, so let's get into it. So if we open up Photoshop, we're obviously going to need to make the texture in the first place, and we're going to need to just do a couple things to the image so that we can turn it into a 3D model. I'm going to be editing a texture I already had made. You can obviously start one from scratch, but I'm going to show you a little trick here as well. If you want to create textures that are nice and simple to create what you want when you want it, you want to create patterns. So if you grab a bit of texture like this and then define a pattern, you're going to be able to paste that pattern pretty much anywhere you want it. So obviously now that I've defined the pattern, if I now go to fill and choose that pattern, make sure the content's on pattern, and then choose the pattern I just made, click OK, it's going to fill this whole box with that pattern. So nice little tip there just for making your own textures. Alright, so I'm just going to paste in an image that I got off Google, actually off Pinterest, but I'm just going to paste this onto my texture, and I'm going to leave it so that you've got some diamonds around the edge. That's because our image isn't going to go all the way to the edge of our pendant, so you're going to want to have a little bit of space just so that you've got a little bit of infill. So obviously I'm going to get rid of this black box, and it's just going to be our image for our pendant, and it's obviously going to have diamonds around it. Now that's pretty much good to go. So I'm going to export this as a DDS file. If you haven't got a DDS plugin, you can possibly get it from our Discord, or you can Google it and find one, or you can export it as a PNG and convert it on a site like covert.io. Just gonna save that somewhere, we're gonna be able to find it in a minute. And then we're gonna go ahead and open up a nice square image. This is like 4096 by 4096, nice and big. I'm gonna stretch this image out. This is a pretty low resolution image, so it's not gonna like being stretched out too much, but I'm just using this image just to show you how to do it. So we're just going to get rid of the background like that, and then actually turn the background layer off so it's transparent. And then if we find our levels tool, it's under image adjustment levels, and then all we're going to do is we're going to move this slider all the way to the side, and that's going to make this image black. Then we're going to go ahead and save that as a PNG. And then once we've done that, we're going to open up the layer style, and we're going to add a stroke. This one's got a gradient on it, so I don't want to use that one. I'm going to do this one. If we make it a different color, we'll be able to see how thick this stroke is. And this is going to be our base layer. So we're going to have two dimensions to the 3D pendant. We're going to have the back plate, and we're going to have the front bit that sticks out of the back plate. So obviously it's up to you how thick you make the difference, but I find this is about right. So once we're happy with that, we're going to go ahead and save that one as number 2. I saved the first one as number 1 and this one as number 2. That way I can easily see which one's which. And then we're going to go ahead and open up Inkscape. We're going to open up both images inside Inkscape. We're going to open up number 1 and number 2 separately. Make sure not to do import, make sure to do open so it opens the file. Now I've opened this number 2 file, and I don't actually like this little bit that's sticking out the side. I don't know why it's done that, so I'm actually going to go back and to Photoshop, and I'm going to get rid of that. So you probably won't have to do this, but I'm just going to go and open the PNG inside Photoshop, and then I'm just going to cut that little bit of unnecessary extra bump that's appeared for no reason at all off of the image. If you do get anything like this yourself, obviously you can just do something like that, and that's why I'm showing you how I've done this. But normally you're not going to need to do this. So I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to open that again in Inkscape. And once we've got both our images right and they're in Inkscape, what we're going to do, we're going to make sure we're on trace bitmap. We're going to click on the black area, and then we're going to come over here and hit apply. We're then going to zoom in to one of the areas that is closest to the line. So somewhere that's touching the line like this. If we hold control and roll our mouse wheel, we're going to zoom in. And then you're going to see these blurry bits that are sticking over the edge. This is the type of place we want to find. And we're going to click outside of it, and we're going to move our mouse in slowly until the crosshair X thing appears again. And then we're just going to click, and we're going to hit delete. And that's going to clean the image up. And then we're going to go File, Save As. I'm gonna find somewhere to save it. I'm gonna make a folder because I'm just saving the stuff here, there and everywhere. You probably should make a folder from the start, to be fair. Now when we do go and save this, as you can see, the save type is Inkscape SVG, which is what we want. So when you do save as, it's automatically going to be saving it as an SVG, and that's what we want. So we're just going to do the exact same thing for the other image. We're going to be on trace bitmap, we're going to click on the black, we're going to hit apply, we're going to zoom in, we're going to find the blurry bit, we're going to click out, we're going to click back in. This time it's a bit closer, but yeah, we're going to click in, we're going to hit delete, and that's exactly what we're looking for, guys. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and save this as an SVG again, and having them as SVGs is going to enable us to import them into Blender and be able to turn them into an actual 3D model. Once that's done, we're going to go and open up Blender. I'm using version 4.0 for this. You could probably use most versions, but you might find some versions vary and they might not necessarily work with what we're doing, but for this I'm using 4.0. I'm going to delete everything. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to import the SVGs. Now if we go to file and then go to import, you're going to have SVG down the bottom like this. There is a grease pencil SVG, it's not that, don't do that. We're looking for this. If you haven't got it, you need to go to edit, preferences, go to add-ons, type in SVG in the bar, and this one that's ticked here, you're going to need to tick this yourself if you don't have that already, and then that should appear. So we're going to go file, import, SVG, and then we're going to find our SVG folders, and we're going to import both of these one at a time. I'm going to do that one, then we're going to do the other one. I'm going to select both of these. I'm going to bring them up because of the zoom constraints on Blender. It does my head in, so I like to do this, bring stuff up, make it nice and big so we can zoom into it and we can see everything nicely. Now once we brought this up, we're going to need to separate them so we can see both of them. So I'm going to grab the top one, that's actually the bottom one, so I'm going to get them in the right order. I'm going to bring the top one up and just have a bit of distance between them like this. Now you can see there's some little bits hanging out here that we're not going to want, but we will get rid of them shortly. So we're going to need to thicken this up, so we're going to go to modifiers and we're going to add a solidify modifier, and that's going to thicken the SVG up. Obviously you can do it as much as you want. I'm just going to be doing it this much just to show you, and you're potentially going to see some issues like this where there's like spikes hanging out the mesh. Now it's pretty easy to fix, so we're just going to click on it, we're going to go into edit mode, and we're going to find the closest vertex to it, and we're just going to grab it and we're going to move it very slightly until it disappears. Try not to move it around too much because one, you'll make it worse, and two, it might mash up the shape of the mesh. But yeah, you just need to tweak it very slightly until you get rid of it, just like that. And yeah, that one's done. We are just gonna go and get rid of those little bits while we're here, but other than that, now you might have a lot more spikes or you might have none, so just have a look around, make sure you're not missing anything. Just make sure you get it nice and clean to begin with, and it's going to save you problems later on. So we're just going to get rid of these little bits here. I'm just going to zoom in and delete the vertices just like that, and yeah, that's looking pretty clean from here. I'm just going to have a double check, make sure I haven't missed anything, but it does look like that's fine. So we're going to do the same thing with the bottom one. We're going to obviously, I'm just going to check that this is the bottom one, not the top one. Yeah, that is, that's a little bit wider, that's why we added the stroke. So yeah, now I'm just going to add another solidify modifier to this one, thicken it up a little bit, and then check it for any spiking. Doesn't look like there's any spiking on this one, which like does happen a lot, especially to the ones you put a stroke on. They seem to normally come out a bit cleaner. But yeah, like this one's lovely, it doesn't have anything. So obviously I can bring this down now and kind of look at how it's going to be. So that's looking fine. One thing I might not have said, but when you're moving them up and down, like don't move them left or right because you'll struggle to get them back in position again. But once that's ready, we're going to select them both, we're going to convert them to a mesh, and then we're going to join them together. I'm going to delete these little SVG things now because we don't need them, and I'm going to rotate it upwards so we're looking at it face on. But yeah, that is pretty much done, apart from the fact that this is probably pretty heavy right now. In fact, I can see in the bottom of my screen it is taking up a lot of faces, and they are really unnecessary faces. SVGs are very heavy for no reason, and I'm going to show you how to bring that poly count down. So we're going to go and add a modifier, and we're going to add a decimate modifier. We're going to be on collapse, and we're going to change this to 0.5, and you'll see the face count here, and when I hit enter, you'll see it just drop. Now you do want to keep an eye on the mesh when you're doing this, because the mesh can actually change dramatically. So make sure you hit triangulate as well, and then apply the modifier, and then go back and repeat the process. Now with this SVG, I'm going to keep doing this, and you're going to see it's not actually going to change that much, but we're going to lose so many faces, which is going to really bring the poly count down on our mesh. But with some other objects, as I'll show you in a second, the more you decimate them, the more they'll lose their shape. So yeah, just make sure that you do it in 0.5 iterations, and always remember to triangulate the mesh as well, and then apply it. And don't try and do it like a different number, just do it in 0.5s and everything should work fine for you. But yeah, if you look now, we've gone from like having a really high poly, we're already down to like 4,500 triangles. That's still looking good, hasn't really lost any shape at all. And to be fair, we could probably even do it one more time and just really bring that poly count down to ridiculously low. And there we go, that is really low poly, and yeah, basically it's not really cost us anything. So I'm just going to show you with a basic diamond what happens if you decimate diamonds, for instance. Different types of diamonds will act differently, so if you've got a brilliant diamond, it's probably gonna act slightly differently, but I'm just going to show you with a basic diamond because this will demonstrate a lot easier. But obviously if I just bring this up so you can see it, and if I decimate this for the first time, then you're gonna see what happens to it. So what we're basically doing is reducing the amount of vertices, edges, faces. Now you see, as I've done that, that has changed shape completely, and if I was to do it again, you're gonna see that it literally turns into something that doesn't even look like what it's supposed to anymore. Now that's obviously not going to be any good for us. I mean, we're not going to be using this diamond anyway, but you need to keep an eye on your mesh. You can't just keep decimating it to nothing because it will mess the mesh up, but you just need to find a sweet spot that's in between reducing the poly count and not losing your mesh shape. Now you can see this is triangulated because of all the triangles around the edge. That's good. We've got a reasonably decent topology for this. So now we're going to go ahead and add our image texture to it. So we're going to select it in UV editing. We're going to take away these old materials. We're going to do a new one. We're going to change the base color to image texture. And then we're going to go and find our image texture, which we created earlier. Make sure to change the viewport so you can see. Now you can see the image is on there, but obviously it's not been projected right. So we're going to just do that now. We're going to open up this image in here. Sometimes it does it automatically, but if it don't, you just need to open the same image on this side. And obviously there's our cup. So now we need to get the mesh itself lining up with the cup. So for this one, we're going to look at it square on. We're going to select all and we're going to project from view. We're going to move this around and scale it and just get in the right position. It's going to take a fair bit of tweaking to get it right, but don't rush, just like get it nice. You might need to scale it up, scale it down, move it up, and keep like repeating the process just until you get it perfect. But it's really worth taking the time to get this right. Now you can see this don't look bad, but obviously here this is slightly out, so I'm just going to tweak it a little bit more just to get it a bit better. That actually looks like that's done the trick. So yeah, to me that looks pretty good. Now the only thing I'm going to say about this, obviously if you look at the sides, they don't look right because of how it's been projected, and the way to solve this is to look at it side on, change it to face view. If you stretch this out, you'll be able to go into X-ray mode, and then we'll just select the inside faces, but make sure not to select the front face. And then we're just going to hit U and we're going to cube project. We're going to scale that down and we're going to put that on top of our normal diamonds. And that's basically going to put the diamonds the right way round, all the way around the whole pendant. And that's it, you've made it. It's a low poly pendant, it's 2.7K, really low poly. And that's it guys, it's all done. So yeah, I hope this video has helped you. If it has, please drop a subscribe, drop a like, hit that notification bell if you want to see the future content. And if you're interested, the link to my Discord is in my bio. We've got an amazing community over there. Everyone helps each other grow. We've got loads of stuff over there, so come and join. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.